Hey, welcome back to Sober Now. I'm Jim LaPierre. Today we're going to be talking about taking care of your inner child. And it's a tough subject, but it's an important one, and it's a vital piece of recovery that a lot of us frankly overlook. So, one of the things that I learned early on in addiction recovery is that the point at which we started drinking and drugging as children, as adolescents, whenever we started, for most of us, that's the point at which we stop growing emotionally. Now, we mature in other ways. We take on new responsibilities. Obviously, we grow up in every other sense. And some of us are very successful. Outwardly, we're very responsible. But on the inside, we remain sad and scared little kids. And there's a lot of reasons for that. So we know that addiction hijacks emotional development. What we also know, but tend not to talk very much about, is that trauma or childhood abuse or neglect also arrest emotional development. And so, for an awful lot of us, even after we get clean and sober, even after we have a lot of time clean and sober, dealing with those wounds is a daunting proposition. It's something that we're afraid to do. And that makes me sad for folks because I know for myself the freedom of grieving my childhood, the freedom that came from exploring those wounds and healing them, was tremendous. It was the weight of the world off my shoulders. It was letting go of a lot of baggage that I carried. So, there's an expression that my friends in AA use that the kid is driving the bus. And I usually hear that said with a little bit of contempt or a little bit of anger. And so the idea that the kid is driving the bus is that our emotional selves, or the part of us that remains immature, is the part of us that's making our decisions or dictating our actions. And so whenever somebody in AA tells me the kid's driving the bus, I'll ask them, wait a minute, who gave them the keys? If the bus metaphorically is our life, then that's always in motion, right? The bus is always moving, it's always going somewhere. If our adult self is feeling overwhelmed, is just emotionally drained, burned out, or just really not sure how to deal with the situation, sometimes our adult self kind of moves to the back of the bus, which leaves the kid driving the bus. And my contention and my experience is the kid doesn't want to be driving the bus, but he or she has been left in charge of making decisions and choices. So when we are basing our decisions on feelings, unfortunately that's usually the worst possible way to make a decision. We have this idea in our society that following your heart is a good idea, which I'm sorry, that's not often true. Following your heart typically only works well in romantic comedies and such movies. The advice that I most often give to people is follow your gut. So, whatever your heart desires, if your gut says, yep, that's a healthy thing to do, that's what is truthful, then great, pursue it, have at it. But if you're anything like me, sometimes your heart tells you pretty little lies about how people are going to change or about how it's going to be different this time. And a lot of us keep going back, whether it's to our family of origin, to a partnership that's never worked out. We go back to many different things, trying to get our needs met, but trying to get them met by people who just don't have that to give. For a lot of us, even in long-term recovery, we want to forget. We want to not think about things from our past. We want to not experience certain emotions. And so we try our best to distance ourselves from ourselves. We seek distractions. We are very interested or maybe even investing in other people's recovery and supporting good things in our community. And that's awesome. Those are all valuable things. But if we're honest with ourselves, what a lot of us are really doing is running away or hiding from ourselves. So, as hard as that is, I want for people to experience holistic healing. I want them to experience feeling whole. And in order to put those pieces of ourselves back together, we can't throw away any of those pieces. We can't say, well, I'm just not going to think about that anymore. I'm just not going to have that set of emotions anymore. I'm just going to move forward. I'm just going to let it go. And I understand that, but I also know we pay a high price when we do that. So folks in recovery are often asking me for shortcuts or how do they get in touch with that inner child. And there's an old school trick that counselors use. We encourage folks to journal and to take that self-talk, that inner dialogue that you're having, and put it on paper or put it on a computer screen. And then the trick is, with your non-dominant hand, write a response to questions or concerns that your adult self has. And it's a way of accessing the inner child and giving him or her a voice, how they're feeling, what their unmet needs are. And hopefully you're working with a coach or a counselor or a sponsor or somebody who has a deep understanding of you as a person and wants to help you heal those wounds. There's a lot of vulnerability in this. It takes a lot of courage to bring these things out into the open. But good people aren't going to judge you in the ways in which you judge yourself. And they're not going to think less of you by virtue of things that you survived. So I know that it takes a lot to do this work. I also know the rewards are tremendous. And it's not an all or nothing thing. You can just take it slow. You can just look at pieces of yourself. You can engage in what a therapist would call introspection. Introspection is taking stock of what's in your heart and asking yourself, what still hurts? What do I need to work through? What kind of conflicts do I have with myself that need resolution? And what's the pain that I haven't yet looked at? I hope you'll make that investment in yourself. I hope that you'll write to me and share with me some of your stories or questions that you have about this or other topics, because I'd love to continue this conversation and make it more of a resource for your recovery and for your quality of life. So drop me an email, jim@sobernow.com. Give me a like and a subscribe button on our YouTube channel. That would be awesome. And share the videos with friends and family, and let us know how we can help you more. Jim LaPierre, sobernow.com. Thanks, and have a great day.